What is the purpose of the Constitution and what is a Constitution? A Constitution is a plan that provides the rules for government. It serves several purposes. It sets out the ideals of people. It establishes the basic structure of the government. It defines the powers and duties of the government, and it provides the supreme law for the nation. Think of the Constitution as a set of rules. Baseball has rules. A government has rules. What is the purpose for the Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights is one of the cornerstones of American freedoms, and it is in place to protect the rights of the citizens. The Bill of Rights was put in place in order to ensure that the people are guaranteed a number of personal freedoms and that the government does not become so powerful as to present a threat to the population. How is a Constitution organized? A Constitution is organized in a preamble, 7 articles, and 27 amendments. How is the Bill of Rights organized? The information is grouped together by the subject of each amendment. What is the functions for the Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights protects the Americans' basic freedom against the power of the federal government. It also is freedom of speech, press, religion, peaceable assembly, and petition of government, civil by trial jury, and trial by jury, and other rights of the accused. Functions of the Constitution. The functions of the Constitution is a supreme law of the land. Article 6, it is altered through amendments. It took effect. 9 out of 13 states approved it. The principles of the Constitution. The principles of the constitutions are separation of powers, checks and balances, federal form, presidential form, mixed government, limited powers. The principles of the Bill of Rights. The principles of the Bill of Rights are individual liberty, federalism, limited government, representative government, private property. All men are created equal, and separation of powers and checks and balances. Rule of law. The rule of law is a general concept that the government as well as the governed are subject to the law and that all are equally protected by the law. The rule of law requires the government to exercise its powers in accordance with well-established and clearly written rules, regulations, and legal principles. Checks and balances. Don't want any more people to be powerful than others. Power between legislative, executive, and judicial branches as laid out in the Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution. Safeguard our freedom by preventing any single branch from becoming too powerful. The second check in the division of powers between the national and the state government. Limited government. Limited government stands in contrast to the doctrine of the divine rights of kings. Under that doctrine, the king, by the extension his entire government, held a limited sovereignty over its subject. Limited government exists where some effective limits restrict governmental powers. Federalism. At 59 and S10, these sections and all the clauses included in the examples of federalism because it lays out exactly what powers Congress does not have. That's in Section 9. And the powers that are defined and the powers that are denied to the state governments in Section 10. By limiting the powers that each type of government has, this divides the powers all equally.
Review. It's in Article 3 of the United States Constitution, and it established the judicial branch of the federal government. The judicial branch comprises the Supreme Court of the United States and lower courts, as created by Congress.
Separation of powers. The Constitution defines the powers of legislative or law-making branch in Article 1, the executive branch in Article 2, and the judicial branch in Article 3. James Madison explained the Federalist Number 51 how the system of separated powers provide checks and balances on the power of government.
Popular sovereignty. The idea and concept of popular sovereignty is the belief that the authority, legality, and legitimacy of the government is created by the will or consent of its people. The American people are the source of all political power.